account. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about my spiritual bank account is a text from the Christian Bible, the book of Matthew, verse 33 in chapter 6. It says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." And the reason I think of that first is that I think that our priority must be seeking God, and that everything else we could possibly need comes as a result of seeking God. So that's why that verse comes to me first. And as I was thinking about that, I was wondering to myself, what kinds of things fill my spiritual bank account? I believe that faith makes deposits in our spiritual bank account, where fear drains them. Meditation will add to your balance, but mindlessness will take away from it. Affirmations will enhance your bottom line, but a belief in lack will create just that. If you add to your daily journal, you will create a better bottom line, but ignoring your blessings will cause them to go away. See, I believe that love infuses our account so that we create a diverse portfolio. Whereas when we become intolerant, we narrow our vision and we deplete our reserves. So I'm going to invite you to make investments in the stocks and bonds of your spiritual life so that you will receive dividends that you never thought were possible. See, the beauty is that Spirit made the first deposit. It created itself as you, and therefore made a deposit into your spiritual bank account. Now, what you do with that account is up to you. You can choose to do things that will enhance your balance, or you can do things that will drain your balance. And I, for one, hopefully no one else has had this experience in their life. I have had a depleted checking account. My checking account got so depleted at once in my 20s that I had to file bankruptcy. It was horrible. See, I don't think there's credit in Spirit. And I think there's probably some wisdom to be had there. You don't get to spend spiritually what you have not already saved up. You don't get to throw out your Spirit of God credit card and say, here, I'm just going to cover it with this. I'll pay that off later. You've got to be doing it daily. There's got to be this practice that's building your spiritual bank account every single day. Now, I use the whole bank account metaphor because I know that everybody here gets what it's like to have or not have. Depending on where you're at, you may have a lot right now or a little right now, but you all get the whole metaphor of depositing into your account. Now, as I said earlier, the direction that your account takes is up to you. There's no insider trading. Nobody can tell you a super secret so that you can exponentially increase. No, this is daily and it's up to you. And no one has an added advantage. This is not an opportunity for us to be comparing ourselves to the Joneses. Does your bank account have what it has? It has what it has. It matters not what the Joneses have. You can add to it. You can diversify it. You can let it slowly run out. It's all up to you. So the question is, what are you doing to increase your balances on a daily basis? See, the world we live in has no shortage of resources in order to tap into, but in order to have them, we must tap into them. I or your prayer practitioner may serve as an investment advisor, but no one can make deposits for you into your spiritual bank account. There are forces, I call it the ego, that would seek to discourage you, that would encourage you to compare yourself to others. Well, my favorite phrase when I think of compare is compare and despair. Anytime I compare myself to someone else, either I'm going to be in despair for myself, or I'm going to be in despair for them, those poor, pitiful fools who don't have as much as I do. Compare and despair. The truth is, if you follow your own inner investment advisor, that whole intuition that's in you, you will always have what you need, and you will become the spiritual philanthropist that you're meant to be. See, because we're not here simply to develop a spiritual life to make ourselves holy. We're here to develop our spiritual selves so that in turn we can be a blessing to the world around us, recognizing that I can't fill your account, but I can create an atmosphere where filling your account is easier to do. And right now we've got a world where filling our spiritual bank account is essential. There is a lot of crud going on in the world right now. Look at Facebook, look at the news, look at anything, and you will see that there is a deficit out there in spiritual mentality. A mentality that would separate children from their parents. Unacceptable. It's our job as spiritual beings to raise our consciousness to the place that that cannot happen in our world. It's our job to do that. And we have to do it daily. Now, I don't want to make any of this sound daunting or difficult, because it's not. But it does require discipline. See, deposits can be made into our accounts that either enhance the balance or deplete the balance. When you focus on faith in a situation, you're enhancing the balance of your account. When you focus on the fear in the situation, you're depleting the balance in your account. See, our theme this month, for the month of June, is spiritual wisdom and how to follow it. When we speak of spiritual wisdom and how to follow it and the science of mind, we understand that there's an eternal and infinite mental capacity for love and faith, but we have to tap into that regularly. Until we tap into that all the time, mentally going back into it, we forget that it's there. I don't know about you, but I think my Enneagram personality type, just to quote John here, I'm a 5, and so this is what I need. No, I'm actually a 4. I thought I was a 3. I'm not. You missed that. Yeah, it was a very rude awakening. I was much more comfortable being a 3. It seemed more attractive. And I began to understand why I saw others who were reluctant to accept their type. Because to accept my type meant I had to accept the warts of my type. Yeah. I could take someone else's warts, I just didn't want my own. Anyway, back to topic. When we're using love and faith, we're enhancing our bank balance. When we're in fear and intolerance, we're depleting our balance. See, the bank of life is always open. There's not a Monday through Friday from 8 to 3 when the banking is doing its hours. No, this spiritual bank is always open. You can always make a withdrawal. You can always make a deposit. There is no time when you cannot do that. So, I would encourage you in your spiritual bank account to put on your spiritual currency, "In God we trust." Just as is on the green stuff that we pass around here and have named it to be valuable. And I believe that if you experience this appropriately, fully, that you can trust that it is insured by the FDIC. The Fearlessly Divine Infinite Conviction. And so after that initial deposit made by Spirit to become you, it's now up to you to figure out what you're going to do with your balance. One of our core beliefs here at the Center for Spiritual Living is that the ultimate goal of life is to be in complete freedom from all discord and of every nature, and that the goal is sure to be attained by all. Let me read that again. We believe the ultimate goal of life is to be in complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that goal is sure to be attained by all. I just want you to sit with that for a minute, that your life could be free, totally free from all discord. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir. My life is not free from all discord, I can tell you that. There's still some in there every now and then. But if we begin to live our lives in a space where we are constantly in an awareness of spirit, then we begin to get into the place where we're free from discord. Because we recognize that whatever's happening outside of us does not have to disturb what's happening inside of us. And so by doing that and encouraging others to do that, then eventually we will get to the place on the planet where those of us who are free from discord will spiritually overwhelm those who enjoy discord, and the discordance will go away. It simply won't be allowable. From Living the Science of Mind, page 237.3, it says, "There is a power that honors our faith. There is a love that meets love with love, a law that meets faith with faith, and good with good. We did not create this law, this power, this divine presence. We had no more to do with it than we did with the creation of the north wind or the north star. It was there before we recognized it. It would be there if we had no existence. But it does not seem to be there until we believe in it and use it." So, the deposit has been made into your spiritual trust fund. The question is, have you made yourself aware of the fund, and are you utilizing it to bless yourself and the world around you? See, you don't have to print spiritual currency, but you do have to put yourself in situations where you can build up the reserve of it. And it becomes important to seek opportunities to enhance that bottom line. And so I ask you, what are the things that you can do in your own life that you know personally enhance your spiritual bottom line? They may be different than the things that I do. I love to set my intention first thing in the morning and have that affirmation be what's going to guide me through the day. I love to meditate. I like to pray. Every now and then I will pick up a journal. Every now and then. Not often. I've admitted that. I'm okay with it. But if that's something that feeds you, pick it up. Journal. Do whatever it is that gets you into the place of recognizing who you are within the one, so that you can be a blessing to the all. Further, in Science of Mind magazine, on page 8 from the 1998 August issue, it says, "The word poverty usually conveys to our minds the idea of a money shortage, but actually the word means lack of any good thing. Poverty is the very antithesis of abundance, and abundance of good is necessary to human happiness. It is only as we experience good that the divine is expressed through us. The more completely we realize good in all of its manifold expression of health, wealth, and happiness, the more completely we express good. That is, the more the divine becomes personified through us." So it's not something that you can just say, you know what, I acknowledge that there is a divine presence there. I know that it is in me. Let's go. You get to do that sometimes daily. Sometimes it gets to be moment by moment. On days where it's particularly difficult to remember it, you get to do it over and over. Mother Teresa referred to "this is Christ" in one of its many distressing disguises. There are disguises out there that are going to tell you this does not seem like a spiritual experience at all. And it's in that opportunity, in that moment, that you can say, all right, well, I can't see anything spiritual here, so I'm going to be spiritual here. I can't see God in this situation, so I'm going to bring God to the situation. Even if it's just to pray about it. Say, I see this situation and it's not working. I'm going to do a spiritual mind treatment about it. I'm going to treat myself to a new truth in the midst of this chaos. The initial deposit is made. What you do with it after that is up to you. Now, most everybody gets that you have to have money in order to spend it. Now, in this whole economy of credit, that's a little off, but I personally would much rather spend out of a fat checking account than on a credit card. Any day. Except, of course, there's the incentives that if I buy fast food this month, then I get 4% back, and if I buy gas that month, then I get 5% back. All right, so I get all of that. But the truth is, I would much rather spend money I have than money I don't. And so the question is, what are you doing to fill the account? Our spiritual bank account is there, and we can draw on it, make deposits on it, use it in an emergency, use it in stress. But how would it be if we were all focused on the realization that our attention to the spiritual bank account, just our attention to it, caused it to grow? See, here in Science of Mind, we teach that what you focus on expands. And so, I'm just inviting you to take opportunities in your day to focus on the account. And focus on what it's doing for you. Is it creating situations where you feel abundant? Where you feel like, I've got enough love to give the whole world. I've got enough kindness to be kind to every driver on the road with me. Yeah, we know. I drive. I'm getting better. You can ask Justin. You can tell them the truth. There are things. Being kind to somebody never depletes the kindness account. Being loving to somebody never seems to deplete the loving account. As long as we're drawing directly from Spirit. The moment that we begin to think that we're drawing on some personal reserve that we've got set aside somewhere, you will become depleted. But if you're depending on the reserve that is set there by Spirit and enhancing that reserve, it will never go dry. Someone told me that they viewed their spiritual practice as the highest, purest form of self-care. And with just a small shift in my own consciousness around that, I stopped having depletion to the degree that I was having it. So that as I set my spiritual intentions every morning, as I do my spiritual affirmations every morning, as I meditate daily, that I'm building into that reserve, recognizing it's not some separate account that I've created. There is no separation. There's no duality. I'm simply tapping into the one that we can all tap into, and create a situation where we are really not only blessing ourselves by having a more peaceful existence on the planet, but we're blessing other people by not contributing to the chaos that's out there. In the case of this trust fund that's been set up for us, you don't have to be 25 years old to get it. You don't have to have been married and gotten a master's degree. All you have to do is say, I am conscious of it. And that trust fund becomes available. From Living the Science of Mind. In our ordinary affairs, we have to earn the money. And in a certain sense, this will be true in our spiritual bank account. But the earning of the supply or substance for our spiritual bank account is a little different. For we earn the ability to draw on the bank of life only through having practiced. So I talked to you about not setting up some separate account, but just tapping into the one account, that one cosmic bank account that we all have access to, that says, you have everything you need as long as you realize that I am all you need. See, the divine, having made that original deposit, is just waiting to come forth in you, as you, through you. See, it's said that God can only do for you what it can do through you. I have people ask me about the horrific things that happen in our world, and how could God allow these things to happen? How could you? And that's a heavy thing. That's a big pill to swallow. When we recognize that there's not some God outside of me that's going to come in and save the day. God is in you. You're the God that's going to come and save the day. So if you think that having children separated from their parents is horrific, do something about it. If you think that having people on the street in Visalia is horrific, do something about it. God's not your errand boy. You are your errand boy. You do it. I do it. We all have to do it. We have an emphasis here at the Center for Spiritual Living on community. And it's not just this internal community that exists here. As much as I love it, it exists outside these walls. And part of the reason that we started doing the concert series, at least in my mind, was to start getting people in this building who'd never been here before. And it's working. I would say the one event that we have done so far this year that got percentage-wise more people in here that were not connected to our center than who are, was drag bingo. Now you may all think, oh my God, how scandalous. Do you know that there were 8 of us from the center here, and there were 80 people in the building? We got to have an impact on a community that we would never have touched if we had not had that event here. And that's what we're about. We're about touching the community. We're about making an impact in a world that desperately needs it. And so I'm going to skip over that and bring you back to your bank book. See, I know that illustrations that we can hold on to make a difference. I remember when I got my first savings account, and I had this little bank book, and I would make my entries in there and my deposits, and I was just like, oh, I was so excited. And then came the day where I got to start writing checks. Oh, my deposits. Where are all my deposits going? But I decided I wanted to exchange the money I had for something more valuable than the money. Whatever it was. It might have been a Sony Walkman back in the day. You know, the yellow ones that were waterproof in 1985. As if I was ever going to go scuba diving with my... Yeah. It's up to us. We're all in this together. We're all tapping into that one mind. We're all tapping into that one bank account. But it's an infinite account. There is no shortage there. All you have to do is tap into it. The only shortage that comes is when you fail to tap into it. Tap into the awareness that your bank account is the bank of God, the bank of life. We are always available to deposit or to take from. And so I would invite you to spend more time depositing than taking from. Now, when you need to take from it, take from it. I believe that hoarding it there is bad. Don't squander it or hold it away. Spend it. But spend it to the degree that you're refreshing it. Make refreshing your account as important to you as spending from it, so that your bank account always has a positive balance and your life always has a positive feel. Let's pray. And so I know that there is just one God, just one cosmic bank account, one to tap into, one to become aware of. And I know that each one of us is one of that one in it, one of it, one as it. And that as we connect to the source, as we connect to that divine energy, we will recognize that none of our energy is ever depleted. It is only as we try to do it on our own that our energy gets spent. And so I recognize that one in us, as us, through us, trying to make its mark on the world, just needing us to be its vessels. And so I claim for myself and for each one here the opportunity to be the vessel, that which serves the world. Recognizing that no service can be served from an empty vessel, I claim for us opportunities to fill that vessel daily so that we may be a blessing to the world. And with great gratitude for knowing that this is so, simply by having brought my awareness to it, I make it so. And so it is.
So it is.
All right. Now, this is the part of the service that I like to say everyone gets to participate in. And I would encourage you, I always like to take my offering in my hand. I try to put it over my heart, but then my microphone gets all muddled. So, this center does not exist as an island. It exists as a massive continent connected to all of us and existing because of our support of it. So I would encourage you to give generously, and please read with me our offering affirmation as Brendan comes up to sing another song for us. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and belief. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live, you can go to cslvisalia.org and make a donation there.
This song I had the chance to record over in Nashville in March. This one's called Spend Our